All right, the great Bambi 42. We're at the Mode campus. I'm with the man, Dylan Lemery, DL Training Systems. How are you doing, man?
Man, it feels good to be back here on the campus, and most importantly, it feels good to see you. I haven't seen you in forever.
I know you've been doing your thing all around the world. I know you were just over in Dubai with Kai Stewart, who won his, I think it was his fourth championship, fifth world championship. I guess let's start there. That's how was that process, and just walk me through that whole experience.
Well, first off, I wasn't even supposed to be there. I had planned a family trip a long time ago, and when we were looking at the dates that he possibly could fight, he was saying things like, it's going to be Dubai. I'm like, please, I'm so financially invested in this family vacation. Just don't do it. And the world said, nope, we're putting it on that day. And some unfortunate news with my family. I got a kiddo with some health problems. We ended up canceling that family vacation, but I was still able to go to Dubai. I believe it's the city of gold. It was an amazing experience, and yeah, there's a lot to unfold there.
Yeah, talk to me about it. I mean, what was your role, in Kai Stewart? I know I was watching the broadcast as it was unfolding, and you're right there. You got the belt over your shoulder. What was your main role out there?
It says a lot on how much he believes in me. He believes in me, I believe, more than I believe in him. To have your strength and conditioning coach sitting on the side for a world championship fight seems like insanity. But we do have a system in place. My job is to give him verbal cues so he knows where he is in the round. It helps with pacing strategies. As we come off into the next round, my job is to keep everyone calm. Sometimes I feel like cornermen are very much like want to do the rah, let's scream at our athletes. I don't really believe that's conducive to giving them information and helping them win the fight. So I really keep everyone grounded. And then most importantly, we work on breathing techniques to try to drop our heart rate to give us the best advantage. We call it heart rate recovery. So if we can get the heart rate to come down more than the opponent, we have an advantage. So my job's very clear. I stick to those because I do not know how to fight. I don't know how to punch, but I am a good person to cheer him on and tell him he's doing good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know he won the fight. He looked amazing. I think he won all rounds. What's going through your mind as as the fight is unfolding and you get the victory and he gets his hand raised. Describe to me that moment.
It's surreal. It's surreal to see how far DL Training Systems has come from the embryonic vision of being in my basement to now fighting for world titles in Dubai. I think it's been really surreal just to watch the progression of Kai Stewart. He is hands down changing the sport of bare knuckle fighting. He is going to be iconic. He's going to be a global superstar, and he continues to show that day in and day out. I think it was really surreal, though, just having the opportunity to chop it up with someone like Conor McGregor, hanging out with Conor McGregor. He's putting on the belt, dapping us up, telling us congrats. He is a mega superstar, and he's done a lot for the sport. So I'm not the biggest Conor McGregor fan for other reasons, but it's a big milestone just showing that we're going places and we're heading in the right direction.
I know. I remember when you were talking to me like I'm going to be in the room with these guys one day, and you did it. You manifested it. I mean, you're in the room with Conor. You're chilling in a club with Conor McGregor, and it's just to see how close you are to the very tip top of the game is so inspiring, honestly. But yeah, talk to me about let's backtrack. Let's just I don't know, maybe people watching this don't know you or don't know what you do in the fight community. So yeah, just give me the rundown on DL Training Systems and what you guys are doing over there.
DL Training Systems is a strength and conditioning company. It's just me. I've been fortunate enough to start this journey with an amazing athlete, Michael Chiesa. He's my first athlete. He's my favorite athlete. He's my best friend. But he's taken me to a place where we've been able to grow this to something really special. We have about 65 athletes all over the world, from Melbourne, Australia, to Singapore, to Sweden, throughout the United States. We have the most elite athletes in the world. I've got a girl who's a WBC boxing Asian champion, 2-time. We've got Kai Stewart, who's a 5-time world champion. Stefan Micic, he's a world champion, 2-time Olympian. There are so many accolades on our team. But the most important part, it's a group of individuals that are all in. We have a vision of doing things that are really, really special, and we interview to make sure we get the right athletes on the team. There's only so much time in the day, and it's important for me to identify athletes that align with what I'm doing. So I try to be a good example. I'm not always the perfect person, but I definitely want to find people that I can consider to be my friends. And by doing so, it's been incredible.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, you're working with the best of the best, and I see, just man, I know you've been doing a lot of work with Juliana Miller. I've never seen her in better shape than right now. She looks absolutely shredded. She looks like her cardio is increased significantly. I mean, you went to Paris. You're doing strength and conditioning for Olympians. So I went with you over to Paris for the Olympics, for the 2024 Paris Olympics, and that was such an amazing experience. And so, I mean, yeah, you're working with the best of the best, and I think I remember the first time I met you was through Brady Houston, a UFC fighter, and he was doing some strength and conditioning, and that's how we kind of linked up. And but who would you say you have on the team right now that that people should be on the lookout for as far as just big time athletes?
We have a list of big time athletes, but the one that's really surging and has the most momentum on his side is Jaden Ortega. After an absolutely dominating performance in Combate Global, he is on the chopping block. Managers are reaching out to him. I mean, the guy, I say this, I'm the most straight fella there is, but he's just a gorgeous looking man, They have all these modeling companies coming after him, so this guy has the whole package. He's an amazing athlete, explosive, knocking individuals out. He's probably going to be some sort of Prada model, and I do think he's probably one of the big names that are coming out of Spokane, Washington.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Jaden Ortega, another beautiful knockout to add to his resume. I know you're doing a lot of work with Melissa Amaya. Melissa Amaya, another great DL trained athlete. I know she was with Combate at one point. I think she went back to Combate because her GFL contract, something happened with that, and the fight is off now. Or
Yeah, the GFL was a weird situation. I think they're doing something. They're negotiating a new fight for her. She definitely can be big. There's just a couple things that are working against her that she can't control. You can't control when you get drafted by the GFL and they don't have money to pay you, so she just lost a big chunk of time there. She's also getting to an age where, age is just a number. We look at Michael Chiesa, who looks the best he's ever looked, but also if she decides she wants to have children, it gives us a shorter clock. And then the last thing is just being 115 pounds. The UFC doesn't have a huge pool of talent there. It would be nice to get her into something like the UFC, but she's got to really show that she belongs there. And hopefully she can make it exciting because she can sing. She's a beautiful looking girl, but most importantly, she's an absolute savage.
Yeah.
And when she's at 115 pounds, she can shut the lights off on people. So that's another one that's coming out of Spokane, Washington.
Yeah. What's on the horizon for you right now? I know you got Juliana Miller fighting May 3rd. Do you have any other DL trained athletes that have any fights coming up?
It's not announced yet, but it looks like Michael Chiesa's in fight camp right now. We're waiting on the contract, but we've got something on the horizon, so we're already working hard and getting him ready for his next fight. That's coming up. DL training systems as a whole, I'm constantly in limbo on what I want to do with it. I really started the business to get more resources for the athletes I was working in person, and it's grown to something pretty big, and everyone's like, you need to hire another coach, you need to do this. I think I'm pretty content. I think capping it off at 65 athletes, providing the best strength and conditioning in the world, and giving my attention to 65 people, regardless of what the pay is, I believe that's kind of where my happy place is, and so that's where the horizon of DL training systems lands.
Yeah, and I know, yeah, you got multiple athletes in the UFC, the biggest promotion in the world. Is that usually walk me through just like your like, I guess, process of getting an athlete. If somebody comes into DL training, like what is like your regimen? What's your walkthrough for how you would go about? I guess it would be different for every athlete. I'm guessing.
Absolutely different for every athlete, and that's what's really imperative. That's what separates average from elite. We have to look at an athlete and a couple things. We use objective testing to give us a look at their athletic profile, but then it's not just about testing them. We have to look to see how do they fight stylistically. Jaden Ortega is not a heavy grappler. He's an explosive, fast, and electrifying athlete. If we work on things like we're going to give you the best gas tank, we're going to go run miles, we're actually going to do him a disservice. So The biggest thing for DL training systems is finding athletes that are all in. Number one, if they align with your purpose, then that's step one. After that, we use objective testing, and through continual objective testing, we try to give them the best physical makeup to help them win in their sport.
And I know Brady Houston went through a really bad injury. Talk about, what the process was like for him. You're his strength and conditioning coach. What's the process for when an athlete gets injured, and how you go through the rehab process?
Yeah, I think it's really important to understand that I can't wear every hat. So I am a doctor of physical therapy, but I really try to separate that with my athletes. And I want to give them the best possible care. So when Brady Houston gets injured, we send him to the UFC. We get the best physical therapist in the world working on him. And I'm just lucky enough to be able to have collaboration with them. We just had a phone call yesterday. He went down, he got tested. We looked at kind of what the data said, made a plan that we can come together and work as a team. And that's with the goal to get him back to fighting and fighting better than he was before, because the guy's on a 3-fight win streak and some big things are heading his way.
Yeah, another athlete that I always say, just, physically, after you started working with him, significantly better cardio, just physique, everything that goes into it. Undefeated in the UFC still. One thing I want to ask, you've had so many big moments, I feel like, with DL training, like so many, you're flying across the world. You're in Dubai, you're in Paris, you're in these big, so many massive moments. Is there a moment that DL training that stands out above the rest? It's kind of like, wow, I can't believe that I have been able to be a part of this.
I wish my brain worked like that. It's actually not the good moments that you remember. It's the bad ones, man. It's the ones that you wish you could go back and change it. It's being in Rio de Janeiro and watching Terrence McKinney get knocked out, the worst you've ever seen, where you're wondering, is he even alive? I mean, that's how bad the knockout was. We've done some really cool things, and maybe it's just the way my brain operates. I tend to focus on what we could do better, how I fail. A lot of times people see the success, but I fail so much. I fail over and over again, and so the goal is to reduce those failures and to keep providing the best service for these athletes to make them successful. I've had a couple great moments, don't get me wrong. I think whenever you get to corner an athlete on a major promotion, it sticks with you. So that's cornering, not in Rio. The Rio one was, that one really bothers me. But cornering Terrence McKinney at the Apex, watching him get that win, cornering Kai Stewart in multiple world championship fights, those are things that they'll be ingrained in my brain forever.
In Rio de Janeiro, was that the one time that you made the walk at a UFC event with the athlete?
No, I cornered Terrence twice.
The Apex and then
Rio.
So Rio was like a massive crowd. That moment was it different than the Apex?
It was definitely different, but he was early on the card, so it wasn't a huge packed event or anything like that. It was interesting walking down the aisle and having everyone boo you and yelling, death to you, and it's a hostile environment down there, and they understand combat sports, so it was exciting.
Yeah, and you talked about, Terrence taking a pretty significant KO. As far as strength and conditioning goes, what role is like CTE? I know CTE is a topic that a lot of people talk about, and brain trauma. And is there anything that you do specifically, or advice that you give fighters after, suffering a pretty bad concussion?
Yeah, listen to the professionals. Follow the concussion protocols. The UFC has so many brilliant minds there, and they lay out different protocols that we should follow. There are some other things we can do. There's some research indicating that maybe creatine has some good neurocognitive or neuroprotective benefits. I think as a coach, if I ever saw any sort of signs that someone was having something like CTE, it's time to have a real heart-to-heart. My job is not to have the best UFC fighter in the world. That doesn't wake me up at night. My job is to help my friends chase greatness. And no one's getting greatness if it's messing with your mental health, your mental sanity, things like that. So I think with the individuals I identify, we have the right tools that we can be successful at whatever we want to do in life. It just happens we decided to want to go cuff to cuff and fight people, but if the time came and someone was having issues with their brain, we'd find something else.
Yeah, I see these guys taking big knockouts, and I feel like we don't really know, we haven't seen it yet. These guys are starting to get older, and you have like BJ Penn saying CTE isn't real, and
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on just
Well, I think it's absolutely real. It's been found through under microscopes that there are changes in brains, and they've found it with individuals that have died. They've looked at their brains. It's there. Another thing we should do is give a shout out to the Bioperformance Institute. They allow all the athletes to come in here, use the hyperbaric chambers, all the modalities, and if there's any chance that hyperbaric can give us the benefit of keeping our brains healthy, reducing chances of CTE, we're going to take it. And they open the doors and give us the keys to the castle.
Yeah, big shout out to the BPI. I just did a show out in Clearwater Casino, and Zeke Crockett actually goes to the BPI in Coeur d'Alene, and he was fighting on that card, and he was wearing the BPI shirt, and they actually announced him as fighting out of BPI fighting systems. So the BPI's got some fighters coming out now, and so big things. They're doing, big things, helping these fighters and helping these guys, recover and maintain, and so that they can really prolong their career, because, we don't know, some of these guys are taking, 5-6 fights a year, and it's like, I don't know what I don't have the answers. I don't know what the math is or how many fights you should be taking, and, if you run through a guy, I guess it's okay, but
I don't think anyone knows it. That's the problem, because is it the fight or is it the training, getting punched multiple times in the head and training?
for sure.
It's one reason I love Michael Chiesta's fighting style. Sometimes people give him a hard time, oh, you're going to grapple someone to death. All I see is health, longevity, and money in your pockets.
For sure.
And if you can emulate that, do it. Do not stand up and just try to starch people, because at times that's a 50-50 coin flip, and we've seen it many times in the UFC where we've just really bad knockouts, and it doesn't come for free.
Yeah, I think you go down to the UFC PI quite a bit, and I try, like, the fighters really need to be taking advantage of that. Like, there's a lot of fighters that complain about fighter pay and stuff like that, but it's like, hey, you got this massive facility that is willing to pay for your training, your food, your dieting, like having access to all these different specialists is such a big benefit to have for these guys.
Yeah, I think, and also give credit where credit's due, most of all my knowledge that's been obtained has been through the UFC Performance Institute, whether it's been like learning in the shadows of Bo Sandoval, the previous head strength and conditioning coach. He used to program for Mike, and at that time I was so new to strength and conditioning, I could see how he laid things out and kind of his clinical reasoning on why he was making someone do something. To Becky bringing me down, just give me the rundown on their different testing protocols, and eventually doing a mentorship with the head strength and conditioning coach, Gavin Pratt, who then walks you through how to do all the different testing so that we don't have to go down there all the time. We have force plates here, we have velocity-based testing gear, and the UFC Performance Institute is the nicest. They are leading the sport in research. They're doing everything the best, and I'm just thankful enough to have the opportunity to learn from them.
So is DL training full? Like, if you want to become a DL trained athlete, is the door still open?
Oh, brother. The door is always open for the right person. I have a wait list that's kind of started. I only work online right now. I work with 6 people in person. That's it. But the answer is I can't say no. I always say no, and then someone knocks on my door, and it just seems like my goal is to help them chase great things. That's what wakes me up in the middle of the night. And when someone comes with a good story, and someone comes that's all in, and someone comes and they believe in you, it's hard to say no to them.
For sure, and it's like it's such a generational thing too. It's like you want to help these young up and coming guys, and I mean you're at the point now where it's like you've seen entire careers, from start to finish basically, and now you got these young kids coming up, and maybe you see something in them, and I don't know. I don't like. Do you see yourself retiring from strength and conditioning, or like how is there a main goal? Is there something that you could accomplish and be like, okay, now I can hang it up, type of thing?
Absolutely. A lot of people don't know that I don't love strength and conditioning. It's not my passion. I don't wake up in the middle of the night thinking about strength and conditioning. I think about using strength and conditioning to help the people I love, and I just have the brain and the gift to do so. And don't get me wrong, I love grinding, I love working, I love like being in and just feeling good with the workouts. I could retire and not think twice about it once Brady Heastan, Melissa Amaya, Kai Stewart have enough money in their pockets that they do not have to fight if they don't want to. And if they decide they want to keep fighting, then go ahead and do it. You know, I'll probably still be there to support them. Those are really some of the athletes that started from the very beginning, the ones that have trusted me the most. Michael Chiesa is very much already accomplished. You know, he's the one that started all of DL training systems, but he's already accomplished that goal. He doesn't have to fight. He does it because he's a competitor, he's a dog, and he wants to keep challenging himself even at the age of 37. Jaden Ortega is a young pup that we work with him as well. I don't know how long he'll stick around Spokane. I really believe that he's going to make a name for him and he'll be gone sooner than later, just because I think he's going to have so many opportunities with other things besides just fighting, and he's going to be really successful. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the first one that takes off and reaches that financial freedom. And then someone like Juliana Miller, she's an amazing athlete, amazing individual, amazing person. I really, really love her. I just don't see her time in Spokane really being much longer, and so I'll probably end up helping her online.
I mean, yeah, I love fighting so much because it's the only sport that I've ever watched where it's like, you know, you get that those nerves, you know, you and now, you know, working with these fighters, you know, I know them on a personal level too. So it's like, I'm so invested into these fights. What are the nerves like for you, you know, making the walk in Rio, making the walk in Dubai, you know, what are the nerves for you as you're making that walk?
The nerves vary from athlete to athlete. Someone like Kai Stewart, my nerves, the first time I worked with him was like, is this guy ready to go? Like, he's just kind of rolling his head. Like we did a warm up, but after that, I'm like, is he ready to go? And he goes out there and puts on an absolute clinic. And now I know Kai so well, my nerves are like zero. I think it doesn't matter who you put in the world, and in that cage, we're going to walk in there, put on a clinic, take the cash and go home. It doesn't matter who it is. So the nerves for Kai Stewart's pretty much zero. An individual like Brady Heastan, even though he's been on that 3-fight win streak, nerves are, my heart rate's probably 150 before we start the fight, because the guy scares the living shit out of you. You know, he's been dropped in his fights, and he's such a dog, he finds ways to win, but that's my only experience with Brady, is I know that I'm going to be like close to almost crying before he gets his hand raised. And then, you know, it just depends athlete to athlete. The ones I work with the most are the ones that really make me nervous, because I just want them to win. That's it.
Yeah, same. And but yeah, I just I just gotta say thank you. You know, you've done so much for the fight community out here. You've done so much for me. You've opened the door. You've gotten me the opportunity to travel to Paris for the Olympics. You gave me the opportunity to film at the UFC PI and go to Chicago and do some work with Stefan Micic. And how is Stefan doing, real quick?
He's doing good. He's on a plane right now to Japan. He's got his wrestling brand, Shano Onev. It's been taken off, and yeah, he's all over the world promoting it. And I believe his shoes sold out in like 20 minutes.
That's wild. Yeah, he's doing big on social media, and he does really, really good content. And so if you don't know him, Stefan Micic, Olympian, gold medalist, freestyle wrestling. Go give him a follow. But yeah, back to you giving me the opportunities to really expand and work with a lot of these fighters and athletes, and so I thank you for that. Is there any message that you want to leave, you know, whoever's listening, just DL training message to the people?
Yeah, maybe, but first I want to say thank you to you, because you've given me just as much as I've given you. You've given me amazing content to show the world what we're doing. You've been a friend, one of the biggest supporters of DL training systems. You, like, anytime I ever ask you to do something, you're always like, yeah, I'm in. So I want to thank you as well, because you've helped build the brand of DL training systems, and you're doing some really amazing things too right now. So thank you. And as far as the message for DL training systems goes, I think it's really important to recognize where we are, but to know the job's not done. We're looking for the right athletes. A couple things that keep me up at night, you know, the reason I do what I do, one of the big buckets is chasing greatness with my friends. And so there's a lot of individuals out there that I think have greatness in their future, but maybe don't have the tools to do so. So, yeah, always looking for the right people, and just really thankful and grateful for where we are.
And I know you were working here at the Mode campus. We got some big things going, and I know you're still around. You're still in the building, and Zach Schneider over there working the jiu-jitsu program. So we got some big things going here at Mode, running the podcast studio. We're opening up a barber shop and all this crazy stuff here. So hopefully you'll still stick around and be around and see some of the things that we have going on as well.
Yeah, and if you haven't been out here, you have to come out here. I'm telling you, it's absolutely insane. It's like 200,000 square feet. They're building some crazy combat sports facility, I hear. Luke gave me the keys to the castle. He's been nothing but amazing to me. He's a fellow wrestler. His brother's an All-American that's got a movie coming out. His name's Ben Care. I always butcher their name. Yeah, you got to take a look at that movie. That'll be awesome. But I'm just telling you, he's an amazing individual. He's extremely successful, made a bunch of money, and decided, what do you want to do in life? His goal was, I want to build something for the world that's empowering, positive, and changes really everyone's life. But it seems like it's directed at young individuals so that we can shape the future. And if you want something like that for your kids, come on down and take a look at Mode.
Yeah, and he also owns the State Line Speedway, just renamed to the Mode Speedway. And that was one of the reasons we had Ed Herman here, because he had a fighter fighting on a King of the Cage card, and they're actually trying to bring King of the Cage to the Mode Stadium, and to do fights there. So trying to open it up to the fight community, and the sky is really the limit when it comes to this. And so I'm along for the ride, and I can't wait to see 5 years down the road what this thing turns into.
Me too. Appreciate you.
But yeah, thank you for coming on. Quick one here, DL Training. If you haven't heard about it, search it, look it up. Working with the best of the best out here in Spokane, Washington. Thanks for coming on, and yeah, that's about it. Thank you. Cool. Boom.